We are going to start part two of our marketing insights with our customer environment. As I said in the last part, customer environment, as far as I'm concerned, is the most important. Everything in marketing starts with who are you going to do what to. So with regards to the customer environment, we've got to look at really two things. We've got to look at who is our current customer, and we also got to look at who is our potential customer. That current customer, obviously, we want to make sure we maintain and keep. The potential customers are where our growth is going to come from. Now, with that being said, our growth can also come from current customers by having them buy more products or buy more different products or something like that. However, we always need to be forward thinking into what can be and what is our potential customers and our potential target market. So we've got to take a look at our basic features of our competitors and who their customers are, because our competitors' customers are usually one of our best targets for our current customers or to become our current customers. We also have to look at changes in customers' needs in order to develop new products, new distribution systems, etc. So we look at the 5 why model. I'm not exactly sure why they say who, what, where, when, and why, because I've always said who, what, where, why, and when. But as you can see, who's our customers? What do our customers do with our products? How do they use our products? What do they need from our products? Where are they likely to purchase it from? Is it from a distribution center? Is it from direct? When do they purchase products? Do they purchase it only seasonally? Do they purchase every single day? Do they purchase it quarterly? Do they purchase it when they have a demand? And then why do they purchase our products over our competitors' products? Or why do they purchase our competitors' products over us? So who is our purchaser? We look at things, and we're going to talk about this when we get into segmentation. But there's really things like demographics, psychographic benefits, usage, geodemographics, as well as generational segmentation. Are purchasers different from users? In other words, are people purchasing for resale? Are they purchasing it for work in process? Are they purchasing it for raw materials to develop other products from? And then who is the influencer in the purchase decision? When we get into buyer behavior, especially when we get into industrial buyer behavior, we're going to talk about the buying group and who is the number one decision maker in the buying group. And then finally, within that buying group, who is financially responsible for the purchase also. We also take a look at quantities, combinations, bundling, and that type of thing. We look at heavy users versus light users. That goes up to the user segmentation as well as benefits segmentation. Do they use complementary products? Are they purchasing only from us? Is it a derived demand? Like I said, a derived demand is when a demand for one product is based on the demand for another. Oftentimes it's raw materials. Take a look at something like steel. Steel is a derived demand based on heavy machinery, etc. What's done with our product after use? Do they recycle it? Do they resell it? Is there an aftermarket for our products? And then also packaging. Packaging is part of marketing's responsibility. And do we need recyclable packaging, etc.? We also take a look at our customers because oftentimes, unless we're in retail, and most of us won't be in retail, but unless we're retail, we are in an industrial setting and we take a look at our vendors. What type of vendors do we have? Is it through a distribution network? Is it direct from us? Is it through multiple distribution networks? Are we doing it through e-commerce? Are we doing it direct? Are we taking orders from customer services? All of those types of things are part of our external customer environment. And then we also talked about when do they buy? Is there seasonality? Does weather impact our sales? Does the political climate impact our sales? Does the economic climate impact our sales? Does the sociocultural climate impact our sales? So Is it really more of a physical or is it more of an environmental thing on our customers? Are there time pressures? Do we have to get it to market quickly? Do our customers need it in just-in-time inventory? All those types of things are part of our customer purchase. And then why do they purchase it? What are they using it for? What is the other uses? Is there any other uses for it? And are our customers' needs changing? How do they pay for their products? Are we on some type of a barter system, or are they paying it in cash? Do we have lines of credit out there? All of those types of things are part of why our customers purchase our products. And then we also got to look at, why do they not purchase our product? Is it a pricing thing? Is it a delivery thing? Is it a demand thing? We can't meet the production, or the production can't meet the demand. Oftentimes, we can take a look at this through social media and other marketing analytics through the digital platforms out there. Now we're going to turn our attention to the external environment. The external environment, as I talks about economic environment, political, legal, sociocultural, all those types of things. We're going to start with our competition. We have brand competitors, we have product competitors, we have generic competitors, and then we have total budget competitors. And you can read what each one of those mean. But brand competitors, oftentimes people like a particular brand of product, even if they don't necessarily like the product itself, they like the brand. Take a look at Nike. People buy Nike for the brand and brand recognition. Do we have product competitors like in P&G? P&G is it's more of a product company than a brand company. Do we have generic competitors? That is very prevalent in the pharmaceutical industry. And then do we have total budget competitors? What we mean by that is we're competing for limited financial resources, and people like to bundle products because they like to pay one bill, one invoice, or something like that. That would be an example of a total budget competitor. Here's an example for soft drinks. You guys can peruse this at your leisure. So there's different stages of our competitive analysis. First of all, there's identification, characteristics, assessment, capabilities, and response. And you can read each one of these. I'm not going to read it to you. Obviously, you can read. But we've got to identify who is our potential brand and product customers. What are their characteristics? How big are they? How much resources do they have behind them? How much marketing prowess do they have behind them? Somebody like Disney has a huge budget for marketing. Somebody like Coca-Cola has a huge budget for marketing. And that is their characteristics. Then we have to assess their weaknesses as well as strengths. Oftentimes we do a SWOT analysis on our competitors. We have to assess their capability, their production capability, what products and what markets are they in now, and what markets could they potentially be in. Sometimes we don't have a direct competitor because they're not in our market now, but they do have the capabilities to enter our market at a later date. Take a look at streaming, for instance. Disney was not on streaming platforms, and then all of a sudden they became a fierce competitor with the Disney Channel in streaming platforms. That I'm sure didn't take Netflix by surprise, but those are their capabilities. Do they have capabilities to enter a market that we're in currently? And then what is going to be our response to those competitive threats? We look at our economic growth and economic stability, especially when you're looking abroad and you're looking at a global marketplace. What is the economic stability in different countries that we want to enter? What is the economic stability in our country? Generally speaking, we do have our ebbs and flows, and we have our recessions, and we have our booms in the economy and that type of thing. But we're fairly stable. But when you look at doing business on a global basis and doing business, say, in some emerging countries or some developing countries, then we've got to look at the political and economic stability of those countries. We also have to look at consumer optimism, and is consumer optimism growing or not? If you look at China, consumer optimism is growing significantly in China because and I teach this in international business, because their middle class is growing. In the past, when China wasn't an emerging country and they were a developing country, really they didn't have a middle class. Now that they're starting to emerge and become a powerhouse in the emerging markets, their middle class is growing, their consumer optimism is growing. And then what events are coming down the pike that we might not foresee that might damage the consumer optimism. COVID-19 was a great example of that. We look at political trends. Obviously, generally speaking, every 4 or 8 years, our political climate changes, although it doesn't change as significantly as in some countries. What types of regulation? It's really funny because I played golf this morning, and when you talk to the owner of the golf course, regulations are always changing about weed killers and other environmental impact that what they put on the grass in order to keep down the weeds and that type of thing are happening. And it's driving these golf course greenskeepers as well as golf course owners crazy because of regulations and deregulations of different industries. And how do we maintain that good relation with elected officials so that we know what's coming down the pike? We also take a look at legal and regulatory changes that are going on in our external environment. The legalization of marijuana has been a huge impact. It's gained a huge impact on companies like Constellation Brands, who knew that was coming and have acres and acres and acres of marijuana farms up in Canada. We know that that's a huge legal issue right now. Marijuana is legal in most states, recreational marijuana. And those are some of the things, some examples of legal and regulatory issues that we as marketing or marketers need to continue to monitor and understand. Not only national regulations, but federal, state, and local regulations, especially when it comes to emissions and other recycling and those types of things. More and more regulatory aspects are going into recycling and that type of thing. And then finally, technology is changing with the wind. It's amazing. I mean, think about 30 years ago, think about 40 years ago when there wasn't an internet, and now it has taken over. Think about different production advancements. Think about different marketing advancement. I mean, we as professors always think about AI and how can we embrace AI and how can we teach our students to embrace AI and still learn so that they're not just asking ChatGPT a question and ChatGPT is writing their paper. They need to make sure that they're learning the concepts. AI is a technological advancement that is here. I embrace it. Most professors embrace it, but we need to make sure that we're embracing it with caution. And then finally, social and cultural technology and trends that are happening with regards to DEI, an aging population, the upcoming population with the I generation. If you think about generational segmentation, you've got you had the Z's, the millennials, the Xers, the boomers, and the greatest generation. Well, the greatest generation is virtually no longer. Boomers are becoming very aged, and now we have the I generation coming up who are wizards in the digital technology. I generation meaning those students that are in high school now or in junior high. My daughter, 14, would be an example of an I generation, and then I have 2 children that are both Z's. So there is a huge difference between the